do whatever we can to assist our young adults with taking that first step into the workforce, but also that kind of like that first step into adulthood. So our program runs about 4 weeks in total. In that we do a couple weeks of work readiness training, some career development, as well as we do a credential training with the NRF, the customer service and sales training. This was an addition that we added because we realized that a lot of our young adults, some of their first positions are going to be in retail, and having that experience of being able to know how to provide customer service and support and be able to actually sell things are things that are very helpful for young adults. Just knowing how to serve others is very important. So that was one of the elements that we added to our program to assist our young adults with their first step. We have a team of 4, but our primary team, the full-time team is 3 people. It's myself, our workforce development specialist, Stephanie Henson, and our career coach, Mr. Donnie Joyner. I love my team. They are hardworking, they are dedicated, they are committed to doing the things that are necessary to help our young adults be successful. We take very unconventional approaches to supporting our young adults.
Well, you wouldn't be with Eckerd if that weren't the case. So
yeah, we meet them where they are, and we try to take the information where their foundation, what they know, and we try to help them expound on that. So I love the fact that our program has staff that come from different backgrounds. Miss Stephanie Henson was with Job Corps for 22 years. So she's worked from CTS all the way to the corporate office. So she has years of experience with recruiting and retention and all of that. And then Mr. Joyner, he has a background in theater. He also has a background in community service. So he brings a lot of character to the work readiness courses, and he does a great job with facilitating and such. So, and then with me, with my background in human services, being from mental health to the education sector, and even now here in workforce development, I bring with me all of those different experiences. So we kind of have like a stew, a gumbo of staff abilities and strengths, which really help to help our young adults thrive.
Well, and that gumbo is what diversity is all about, isn't it?
Yes.
Working together, we get a lot done. That is really special. You know, I know one of the things that was just so intriguing to me is hearing about some of the kinds of training that you do, and I know some of it is in group setting, Zoom world these days.
Yes.
And I know a lot of it is one-on-one, but talk to me about the skills training and basic life skills training, soft skills. Talk to me about some of the things you're doing there.
So I'll talk and try to mesh the pre and post pandemic together.
Yes.
So pre-pandemic, one of the things that we really found was that a lot of our young adults lacked basic life skills. When I say basic life skills, I mean they don't know how to budget. They didn't know how to purchase groceries, or make conscious financial decisions when it came to selecting different items at the grocery store. Some of them didn't know how to wash their own clothing, or pick out different clothing for interviews and such. So in the pre-pandemic,
all of those things are learned, aren't they?
Yes, yes. And you'd be surprised at how many of our young adults come in not knowing how to cook for themselves. So for cooking, one of our elements of our our education course, which is like our education remediation course for young adults who are computing, math, and reading at or below an 8th grade level, we had cooking lessons as a part of that class. For our life skills training, we actually took young adults to the laundromat. We gave them a couple dollars so that they can wash their clothes, but to see this is how you sort your clothes. This is how you wash and dry your clothes. These are the different settings. We've taken them to the grocery store, giving them budgets like, hey, if you had $5 to purchase lunch, what would you buy? And then just having them explain their different decision making when it came to selecting those items, and then also showing them how they could have made better decisions to kind of stretch out their lunch if they're working on a limited budget. We partnered with our local community college to do financial literacy training to kind of teach them the basics of, you know, having a bank account and how to open one, the differences in the different types of bank accounts that you could have. And we also even took them on clothing trips. We had a partner who would actually allow the young adults to go into their clothing closet, and it was like more so like a boutique style. So they would be able to shop the racks for interview clothing, skirts, shirts, suits, pants. And then if they had some time left over, they would actually let them select different items to keep, and it was all free of charge.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Another thing that we did, we also volunteered at a local church. A food pantry, a county food pantry, had a site at the church that was probably about 2-minute drive from our office. And so each month, our young adults would actually give back and do community service. So those were just some of the things that we felt were important for our young adults to know, because it's not only is it important for you to know how to take care of yourself, but it's also important for you to have the mindset to give back to others. So pre-pandemic, those were some of the things that we focused on. Now that we're in the pandemic times, we have to get a little more creative with how we are getting our young adults to remain engaged. So we've kind of buffed up our work readiness training, pulling in a lot of different resources to kind of help them. We have recently started a job club. So every Friday, our young adults meet with our workforce development specialist, and she actually goes over some of the things that they learned in work readiness. So if we had young adults that have been with us for a while, they still get that refresher for that resume. They still get the refresher for the cover letter. They actually do a collective job search in different activities to help them continue to remain engaged in the workforce.
Helping one another. Helping one another.
To build that community. We've also tried to do more a la carte services. So having pods of people who have similar needs or career interests actually do networking sessions with our career coach, where they're collectively working to identify jobs that they would like to apply for, identify occupational training programs that they would like to pursue, and setting plans to actually pursue those together, kind of like in a group. So we have that job club where they can all kind of pile in and get some support. But then we also have these more strategic and targeted pods to help folks kind of move along together.
Love it. Love it. Now talk to me. It's interesting, the amount of hands-on collaboration that you're doing, and how the young people are helping one another. Are there mentorship opportunities for business and community people to plug into this training and help?
Most definitely. I mean, there's always an opportunity for businesses to come and to support young adults who are seeking to move into their industry. And even if it's not into their industry specific, transferable skills are necessary. We have a lot of employer partners that we work with currently who their roles that they have available for, like, let's say it's a work experience or something, they may not necessarily be the ideal space for a particular participant that we have in the program, but those employers have say, hey, I'm willing to help this person get trained or introduce them into the workforce. I want to help these young adults see what it's like to, go to a job, what it's like to read an employer handbook, what it's like to interact with other folks, meet a deadline. All of these things that our young adults sometimes come into the program not having experience because they maybe never worked before, or maybe they've never worked in a professional setting. So I think that having that employer or business partnership is essential, because the more variety that we have, the more opportunities we have to prepare our young adults for the workforce. And they only get those experiences by businesses and employers that are willing to invest in the future of our workforce.
Wow. Wow. Well, I love your passion. I love your enthusiasm. Take a couple minutes, and I want to hear the Ashley Baldwin story. How did you get where you are today? What drove that passion? Um, um, uh, uh, Give me a little bit of your background.
Okay.
I'm an old Baptist. We call that give us a testimony. I want to hear your story, girl, because you just seem so special, and your enthusiasm and just the passion you have for your staff and clients just emanates from you. I want to hear about that.
Well, thank you for that. I'm originally from Michigan. I'm from a small town.
Uh-huh.
Saginaw,
That's the
Michigan.
shape of the state.
Like a true
I've been
Michigander,
there.
I'm always going to raise my hand. But yes, I'm from Saginaw, Michigan. I graduated from Michigan State with my master's in social work, and I actually went to undergrad at Central Michigan University. And one of the things that I've found in living in Michigan is that there was a high need for support for young adults and for families when it came to thriving. If you know anything about Michigan, you know that it's a hybrid of rural and metropolitan areas. When you get into those more rural spaces, you don't have as much support when it comes to getting resources or different trainings, or the industries are so singular. Like there's farming and there's industrial, like automotive, but there's not really a bridge for the other opportunities that exist. So for me, as far as my background and how I came to be, I've always known that I wanted to support others, but living in Michigan specifically was very transformative to me, because I realized that there's an opportunity for us to support and encourage and empower people to diversify the industry, even in the midst of these spaces that are so just, either you work for General Motors, or if you live in Grand Rapids, you work for Amway. These big monstrosities of these industry giants, but the most of the folks that you meet, the Joe Schmo, isn't going to work for these places. So how do they survive? How do they thrive? And then when they enter into these other industries that are available, how do they move forward? How do they, navigate that space? So when I started after college, I actually served two service terms with AmeriCorps. And I was working at a community mental health agency where I was assisting families with getting Medicaid and healthcare benefits, and helping them access mental health services. And what I realized is that there needs to be a bridge to help people navigate these systems. So when I was in the mental health space, it was more so, how do we get people to get the support that they need, that they qualify for and deserve? But who is that person that makes that middle space? A lot of folks were applying for benefits, but were getting denied just for one little error on an application, because the systems are automated. And so taking that experience and moving here to Maryland, it's the same thing in workforce development. A lot of our young adults have the capacity to become employed, to maintain and establish employment, but there are so many things about workforce and about different industries that need to be demystified, so that people can feel like the things that they actually have the capacity to do, they can do them, but they just need to know that they can do it. And having a group, having an organization, having that type of support to help them navigate and break it down to where they can understand, like, these things are achievable. This is what I need to do to get there. It helps our community thrive when we have that bridge. So for me, my whole career in every role that I've had, it's always been about me being that bridge point between what someone really wants or needs or deserves and helping them to get there with the resources that they have available at their disposal. So for me, my passion is always about helping folks get to where they need to be, because they deserve to be there. And everything is not as hard as it seems. Sometimes you just need someone who's willing to sit down and help you or push you to get there.
Wow, wow. And that process and being the person that can show them the right steps to take is just, it's just so important. Talk to me about some of the young people. They I can tell they energize you. Are there a couple stories that just jump out of a young person that's came in and gotten training and life skills and ended up landing on their feet somewhere? Share a story or two with us if you wouldn't mind.
So there's two young ladies. There's two young ladies that I want to share about their most recent successes with our program, but I also want to share a different level of success story at the end. So it's going to be three people that I want to talk about. One young lady, she came into our program at the time of the pandemic. Like, literally, she started her class that first week of March. She was in her second week of class, and then we shut down the office. And so she was actually working in our office because she was interested in pursuing like a career where she wanted to do like some administrative support. She had done some work in HR. She had been to college, but she hadn't finished. And so she was really looking for, she was really looking for an occupational training program to kind of help her, increase her earning potential, but also increase her skills that she already had. When I tell you this girl was a rock star in the office, I mean, my staff will tell you I wanted to hire her. I was like, if we had the funds, I would hire her. She took initiative. She was very polite and just she was hardworking. And I was just like, man, I really want to help this young adult. And so the pandemic happened. She completed her coursework with us. And she wasn't able to finish her work experience at the office because obviously the office was closed. But she continued to work with us, continued to apply for jobs and different positions. And then I believe it was in the summertime, our workforce development specialist identified a business that was looking for clerical support. When she worked with us, again, she was a rock star. So we were like, this is the perfect person. This will be a great opportunity for work experience for her. She had identified that she actually wanted to do some medical office admin training. So we were preparing her to go into an occupational training program, which was a virtual occupational training program. And she started at this organization. She is still employed there. Like, she completed her work experience and they offered her a position and they were like, she runs the office now. Like, she's just everything. And so for her to be able to go through that lull of the pandemic, transition into an in-person work experience, which turned into a full-time employment opportunity, and then also to currently be in a occupational training program with other offers of folks, like when we get like clerical positions and different things like that. One of our partners was looking to hire someone and they were willing to pay $25 to $30 an hour. And she was the person that we were like, hey, we have this great person. If she fits your qualifications, she's great. But she did a great job and she just moved through the program. But it was her commitment. It was the things that she had intrinsically inside of her were the reason why she was able to become successful. And so she's definitely one of the folks that I'm very proud of and I'm still very proud of. We had another young lady who is a recent enrollee. She actually enrolled in our program in August. So this is when we actually were able to start re-enrolling since we had that pause for the pandemic. And she started, very quiet young lady. She completed Job Corps, but things just because Job Corps was kind of in this state where they're trying to get their operations going, and so she enrolled in our program. And she worked so well. She was, very polite, very kind, always did everything that she was asked, and just really, she had a very clear goal. She wanted to go into a CNA program. She wanted to work. And so after she completed her work readiness training in October, she enrolled in a CNA course. She's since graduated from that course and now is employed in her field. Wow. And working part-time. And so she was one of the folks that moved right along through the program. And we love to see that, right? We love to see when we have those situations where the world is doing all of these things, but we can still help young adults become successful. And the last person
before you get to the last one, I'm going to interrupt you. Take a minute and talk about some of the changes. I mean, especially these two program graduates you mentioned, getting involved through the pandemic, having to acquire their training through the pandemic, and get employment in the middle of the
pandemic. Yeah.
Talk to me about adjustments that you and the staff made to make accommodations to be able to help young people in this COVID world we now live in.
Well, one thing I want to note is that we never stopped providing services for our young adults. Our office closed on March 12th. By March 30th, we were already offering virtual services for our young adults. We continued to provide virtual services every single week up until we were able to enroll young adults in our program in August of this year. So we were working with our existing course load. We were providing them with all different types of workshops. So in April, we had a COVID workshop where we had one of our partners. They actually did a workshop where they showed our young adults how to remain safe, how to build their immune system, the necessary precautions that they needed to take in order to ensure that they didn't get infected with the COVID-19 virus. We can proudly say that none of our young adults have had COVID, which is awesome. We've provided different financial literacy courses. We've done some mental health stuff. We've had different types of scavenger hunts to boost retention, all different types of employer presentations for companies that were hiring during the pandemic. So we have a partnership with CVS, and they are still hiring for young adults. So we've had a number of presentations and a number of our young adults who have who've applied for positions there. We boosted up our training offerings. So the NRF was offered continuously every single month, but it moved from the in-person to virtual.
NRF.
Yeah, the
donors,
NRF.
what does that mean?
National Retail Foundation Customer Services Sales Credential Training.
Okay.
So we just kept it moving. We were not interested in allowing our young adults to not have the support that they needed during this time, because there were still young adults who needed to work. And even for those who were employed and because of COVID became unemployed, our workforce development specialist offered monthly unemployment sessions where she would actually teach young adults how to apply for monthly benefits, how to set aside their money for taxes for the end of the year. So how to fill out their web certs. We provided those services to our young adults in the interim.
Wow. All right, now get back to that third story.
So the last person I want to talk
these
about.
Two ladies excel during COVID. I knew you were doing some special things.
Well, this last person is, and I think a lot of times we like to focus on people that are able to complete. But I think there's also success in people making personal progress. So we have a young adult who came into our program in 2018. And she has a background Okay. She needed her GED, and she has been with our program in a lot of different phases. And, at one phase in the program, she was like, I don't ever want to get my GED. I just want to work. And, we would find her work experience, or we would help her identify positions, or then life would happen and then we wouldn't hear from her. It was just kind of like she was just really going through a lot of different changes. But in the fall of this past year of 2020, she actually did a virtual work experience through the Success Training Institute, where it was a 12-week, 17 hour per week commitment, where she would actually do like 17 hours of soft skills training, different types of training on how to conduct yourself in an interview, how to learn different cloud services, and all of these different types of things. And in those 12 weeks, we've seen her transform. And I mean, week after week, she's hitting her numbers. She's earning her stipend. She's following through. She's getting on the call in the job club. She is becoming consistent. Just as of this week, I think it was yesterday, I got a call from my workforce development specialist, and she said that this young adult has finally decided that she is ready to pursue her GED. That is success to me. We have worked with this young adult for 3 years, and we've been trying. But just those types of successes are just as important as those folks that are completers, because we're here to impact their lives and we're here to make change happen. And these small wins, which are small wins to us, are huge wins in the trajectory of someone's life when they can identify that they're ready to make a real change.
Wow. Wow. Well, I just want to interject. One of the things you and I talked about when I was there is through a large national foundation, um, they have made a matching gift grant available for any donation up to $250,000 to help us with scholarships for Success Awards. Now, these Success Award scholarships, I want to encourage you to have some of these young people apply.
For sure.
By the guidelines of the program, every program can do at least one scholarship a month. But I will tell you, between now and June 30, because of the match that we have right now, we're waiving those guidelines. You could actually apply for more scholarships than that, but I want you to apply. And if you're a company out there, if you are listening today and you're motivated by some of these young people's stories in this program, understand that if you made a gift to this program, that gift would be doubled with this Success Award match. And so it's special. We want to recognize your young people for the outstanding work that they're doing, and I just hope that you'll challenge the team to fill that paperwork out. It's a 3 or 4 page application. It is there's a dozen questions that you got to answer, but
Yes.
it just gives you a chance to brag on your young people, and Ecker Connects, see if we can help you with the few Success Awards. So
Will do.
it's so exciting just to hear that, and again, if you're listening today and you'd like to be part of this special program, or you'd like to help us with Success Awards, knowing that if your company or your foundation or your family makes a gift, that every dollar is going to be matched dollar for dollar. So I hope everyone will get involved. But Ashley, let's pivot. I'd like to hear. I mean, in January, it's kind of a new calendar year. Are there new programmatic goals that you set? Of course, we're all hoping that President Biden, I heard him say yesterday, he's really hoping that by late spring that the COVID issues start to subside as more and more people are vaccinated. And of course, we're all praying and hoping for that day soon.
Right.
But what kind of changes are you planning to make this year? Talk to me about some of your programs. Are there new things that you're adding to the training? What's going on in your program for 2021?
So for 2021, we're taking the lessons of 2020, obviously. And with us having a significant number of months where we were able to provide services in the virtual space, our goal this year is to enhance those services, but our approach is a little different. For each of our staff members, we have learned that in the virtual space, you have to be far more intentional, far more strategic, and available for the young adults. What we found is our young adults respond better to one-on-one connection. In a group space, in a virtual space, it's easy for folks to kind of get lost in the shuffle. So what we've done is we've tried to increase the opportunities for our young adults to have one-on-one meetings and sessions with our staff. I apologize for that. But so that's kind of been our thing. It's like, how can we meet our young adults where they are, and what can we do to change? So even in our enrollment process, we're setting aside more time to go over different documents and forms, and we're being a lot more flexible with helping them with the enrollment process. But one of the things that I'm really excited about that we're adding as a service to our young adults is that we are actually going to be able to sponsor 10 young adults to complete driver's training. In our area, a big metropolitan area, you'll be surprised at the number of young adults who do not have a driver's license.
Absolutely.
Many of our young adults come in wanting to go into apprenticeship programs. They meet all of the qualifications except they don't have a driver's license. So we have built that into our program. We actually received a grant from the Greater Washington Foundation in the amount of $25,000. And one of the things that we incorporated in our grant request was that we would be able to provide that as a service. Now, we don't get any outcomes or anything for that, but that is the thing that can really help set some things in motion for our young adults. Some folks have all of the qualifications that they need, but they don't have that driver's license. So for 10 young adults throughout this program year, we are going to be able to support them with moving forward with that journey. We also are going to do some more non-conventional work experiences with some of our grant funding to be able to support folks that may not be able to have a more traditional work experience type of situation. So we're trying to just kind of diversify the way in which we're able to support our young adults. So those are kind of our goals. Be more intentional with our services that we provide, offer an extension of services, i.e. driver's training, different job clubs, etc. So those are two of the things that we have on the docket.
I love it. Love the forward thinking. And I know your young people will certainly take advantage of it.
For sure.
Absolutely. Well, I know that we've got several donors and supporters on the call with us today, and of course, many of our program leaders from around the country. For those that maybe are helping us with success awards for some of your young people, or those that have helped Eckerd Connects, anything you'd like to say to our donors and supporters? You can ask them for money, whatever you want to do, but it's your chance. You're on, girl.
Well, I would say to any person that supports the work that any program does for Eckerd, our program specifically, thank you. Thank you for the work thank you for your support. You don't know how much it means to really be able to provide an extra layer of support. Everyone that has a WIOA program has different constraints that don't allow them to do certain things that might be the thing that's needed or necessary in order to support a young adult. So your donations, your contribution, your matches, all of those things really help us to be able to provide a better layer of support for our young adults who are transitioning into the workforce, who are emerging adults, and who are going to be the people that are going to take care of us when we get older anyway. So thank
That's
you.
right.
Thank you for your support.
Oh, that is special. And Ashley, before we open it up for questions, would you take a minute and just share how somebody could reach you? Um, where would they write you? What's your email address? What phone number should they call? Do it slowly, and you'll have to repeat it twice. So I'm a good game show host, so I'm going to make sure you do that because I want people to take this number down and get in touch with you.
Well, if you would like to reach me, I am available using my Eckerd email address, which is Baldwin, Baldwin. My direct line is Lord Jesus. I have no idea what that number is, but I want to say it's 202-809-2800, but I'm going to confirm that because there's so many numbers. I would say that in this day and age, we're not used to memorizing phone numbers. There was a time where you knew every number that you called. And now that we're in this space where we can just press a name, it's like, yes, I was right. 202-809-2800. That is my work number.
That's what I got. 202-809-2800.
So yes, if you want to ever shoot me a call, call me, text me, leave a voicemail. I am always happy to assist in any way that I can, whether it's giving out ideas, providing support, helping you navigate different elements of programming, talking about how to pivot in these different times. I'm always available to assist. I love helping people. I really do.
And then share exactly where Suitland, Maryland is for people that are around the country tuning in.
Suitland, Maryland. It's in Maryland.
But outside of DC, right?
We're right outside of, we're literally right outside of DC.
Right. The DC line is right there, isn't it?
The DC line is less than 10 minutes away from us. The Southeast DC line. So we are sandwiched in between DC and we're Suitland, Maryland, and if you know where the census building is in Maryland, we're right down the street from that. But yeah, that's where we are. That's where we're located. We're actually housed in a building that's owned by Kevin Durant now. So
there you go.
Fun stuff.
You got to reach out to him and get him to meet some of your young people. So
well, he has a program downstairs, so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, I am just so honored to have met you and spent some time with you, and look forward to meeting some of the young people sometime soon.
Yes, hopefully.
I am just honored by you and your staff, the great work you do for young people, and just a valuable part of the Eckerd Connects team. Please thank them for me. Thank them for our executive leadership team. And again, thank you for all you do. I do want to take just a minute and open it up for any questions for Ashley. Anybody from our audience want to unmute themselves and share? Ashley, if you would share your email address one more time. A couple people trying to write it down.
Excuse me. A.S. Baldwin, Baldwin @eckerd.org.
Wonderful. Any questions from our audience? So often it's hard to pull them out of people.
It's okay.
But we threw a lot at you today, and you just did an amazing work. And again, we thank you for what you're doing, and look forward. One of the things I'd like to encourage you to do when you give out a few of these Success Award scholarships,
yes,
I'd like you to come back on our broadcast, bring some of those young people with you, and share. And I want them to share their stories. So it's not conditional, but if you'll ask people if they'd consider doing that, it'll mean a lot to our viewers. So
we'll do.
Well, wonderful. Well, again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. We do Wednesday lunch and learns 3 Wednesdays a month. We skip the first week of the month. And on February the 10th is our next show. We'll be interviewing Tamika Perry. She runs our workforce program in Jacksonville, Florida. And then on February 17th, we'll be interviewing Lori Lynn Sugar, who oversees, who's our external relations manager in our foster care program. And she'll be hosting a panel of some of our foster care successful graduates, young people that have come up through the program and landed on their feet. So again, thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you once again, Ashley. You are
Thank you
a
for
rock
having me.
star. Thank you so much. You rocked it today. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So long, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
And the recording has